He was the unluckiest person in all of human society. Just as he managed to bring a single bean to his mouth to enjoy its taste, it slipped and fell to the ground the very next second. But he refused to give up. Just because his hands were made of scissors, he couldn't enjoy food like everyone else. Seeing this, the kind-hearted Peg quickly handed Edward a bit of cream. Edward politely sliced off a small portion and spread it on the cake. Thanks to her persistence, he got to taste real food for the first time. But Edward knew that in the eyes of humans, he was a cold machine. Since the day he was created, he had lived alone in a dark castle. Peg felt an instant ache in her heart the first time she saw Edward. He had no human hands, only cold, sharp scissors, and his face was covered in scars, all from accidentally cutting himself. Gently, Peg cleaned his wounds and made the decision to bring him back to live in her small town. When Edward rode in a car for the first time, his face lit up like a child's with excitement. But not everyone wanted such a messy-looking monster coming to their town. Peg didn't care one bit. After bringing Edward home, she eagerly introduced him to her family. The moment Edward saw Peg's beautiful daughter, his cold heart trembled for the first time. But when he looked into the mirror and saw his own face, he knew he didn't deserve to be loved. Without flexible fingers, Edward struggled to put on the clothes Peg had given him. Watching him fumble, Peg quickly stepped in to help. Thankfully, once dressed, Edward looked surprisingly handsome. Soon, the neighbors heard Peg had brought a strange man from the dark castle and were eager to see him for themselves. To make Edward seem more normal, Peg brought out her expensive makeup and generously applied it to his face, trying to cover up his scars. But no matter how hard she tried, it never looked quite right.
Darn this stuff!
Outside, Peg's husband was trimming the hedges. He was planning a party to introduce Edward as their new family member. Unexpectedly, Edward started mimicking his movements. In front of two boys, a cute dinosaur shape appeared in the hedge, and the man was delighted by the result. Edward went on to trim all the hedges in Peg's yard, transforming the garden into a beautiful display. A little boy tried to clean the dirt from Edward's blades, but the man stopped him immediately. Water would cause them to rust. Instead, he sent his son to get some oil from the garage to maintain the blades. At that moment, the man fully accepted Edward as part of their family. Soon, everyone in town heard about Edward's scissor hands and lined up to have their lawns trimmed. Even dogs were transformed under Edward's hands, turning into goddess-level pets, the most fashionable in town. Before long, neighbors were rushing to bring their dogs for a makeover, and Edward was adored by all. But Edward's talents didn't stop there. He could cut stylish hairstyles for the women, from trendy long layers to dramatic buzz cuts, even bold bald styles. The women couldn't stop raving about his skills. Yet each night, as Edward lay in bed, a deep loneliness filled his heart. Until one day, Peg's blonde daughter returned home for summer break, and Edward's frozen heart beat once again.